Hi everybody, it's Cindy at Prep Your Stead here. Today we are going to make French toast muffins and we're going to use the big wood stove. I've got my butter up here trying to melt because I don't have a refrigerator, so I keep everything in an ice chest outside, and it hasn't been above freezing in days, so my butter is completely frozen solid. Minor complication, but we'll get through it. Sorry about the hat, but like I said, I don't normally keep the house really warm. I believe in put more clothes on, not cook the house. My kids hated it. So let's get started with the French toast muffins. The first thing we're going to do is I have 4 eggs and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. I'm going to dump them in the bowl. Set that over there. And then I have cinnamon, kosher salt, and a little bit, 2 tablespoons of sugar. The kosher salt is 1/4 teaspoon and the cinnamon is 3/4 of a teaspoon. I'm going to dump that in. And then I have 1 cup of whole milk. And I have 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Make sure you get heavy cream. And I will put all of the instructions and everything in the description of the video for you. We're going to whisk it up. These are one of my favorite sinful treats. I have to be very careful about making them because I will sit and eat them non-stop because they're just that good. So we've got that whisked up so that it's got a nice consistency here. And then we take, this is 6 cups of cubed bread. I use day-old bread that I get at the grocery store because it's cheap and easy to get. We'll put that in there. Set that over there. Take the whisk out because, yeah, that's my goof. That's okay. Fixed. And we're going to mix it up really good so that it's fully coated in there, because we want all of the bread to soak up that goo so that it's all thick and yummy. So when you get it all in here, it starts becoming gloppy, like French toast that you would throw into a pan. There we go. Now, like I said, these are my sinful ones. I throw chocolate chips in here, about 1/2 bag. And I mix those in there too, because what's not better with chocolate? And I just got bored one day and threw them in there and decided that was a great idea, because yeah. So we're going to get that all stirred up in there. Now the stove, I've had the stove running, trying to get the oven heated up for about an hour now, and it is now at about 330 degrees. These actually bake in a 350 degree oven, so I'm almost there. With the wood stove, it's a little different. You can't really maintain a good heat, so it's more of a watch what you're doing and keep an eye on your stuff. And then I'm just going to put these into the muffin cups because I want them to get all yummy. The muffin cup, I sprayed it with a non-stick butter, just because that was the easiest way to do it, because I live in a construction zone, as you can see from looking behind me, and I have absolutely no idea where my muffin cups are, and I didn't realize I didn't know where they were until I got home from the grocery store. Actually, that's a little too much in those. Get them all filled in here. Other things that I've put in these in the past, I've put walnuts in them. Sometimes I put a little bit of pumpkin puree in them. I do things just to taste, because you know, you gotta try something different every so often. Make sure I get plenty of this around. Ooh, that stove is hot. The rest of the house is actually pretty chilly. I don't keep the house above about 60 degrees. But right here by the stove, I should have rethought the sweatshirt because now I'm cooking. Literally and figuratively. Hopefully that butter is getting melted up there because there's a topping that goes on this that really just kind of, there we go, makes the whole thing. Get all that gooey goodness in there. Yes, I wiped my hands on my pants like I always tell my kids not to. Well, we're going to see if that'll work. I might have to go find the good beater. I have here, I have 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I have 1/3 cup of flour. And I have 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And that makes a topping. Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's not great. But hey, such is life when you live in the middle of nowhere in a house where all you have is a wood stove to cook and you don't have refrigeration. If it doesn't completely mix up, I'm not too worried because we can still put it on there. It'll still come out absolutely wonderful. Because French Toast Muffins, who doesn't like those? Or I could just leave the topping off if need be. Sometimes I actually leave the topping off and I actually dust them with powdered sugar. That's my daughter's favorite way to have them. She is not a big fan of brown sugar, so she prefers the powdered sugar topping. She thinks that the brown sugar actually makes it too much like coffee cake, which I guess it kind of does. But kids will be kids. Man, that is frozen right there in the middle, and it's been sitting on that stove for a good hour. Although we did have a dilemma with the other butter. It actually blew the bottom out of the Pyrex that it was in and completely coated the stove in butter, and we missed out on all the fun of that. So even still, I've been using the stove for quite a long time, and I still even do stupid stuff and make mistakes. Really, Comet, go on. You do not belong in here. The dogs, of course, think that they get every treat in the house. I'm actually going to take and crumble it up a little bit because it's just about there. They know that if they wait, that anything that drops on the floor is theirs. And so they sit here waiting. Comet, you were just told no. No, you can't have them off the top of the stove. They really, truly are spoiled rotten. So, as you can see, they like to come and get in there to the business. All right, there we go. It worked out just fine. Now I just got to get it all crumbly here. So we take it and get it all nice and crumbly because you don't want chunks. You just want crumbles in there. And it is kind of sticky gooey because the butter wasn't completely melted, but it's really more like a coffee cake topping. Then I'm just going to go ahead and set a little bit on each one, and it'll melt in and be all yummy because, yeah. Preferably not on the floor because the dogs don't need the brown sugar. They're hyper enough without it. Oh man, that is getting hot. Oh, it's at 350 now. So it took about an hour and 10 minutes or so to get the oven up to temperature. So it's not a fast process. However, when you have a stove like this, the one thing that you will never ever have to worry about is a grid down situation where you can't cook because you don't have a source of cooking. While I use mine every single day, not everybody has to do that. And grab my towel. Not everybody has to use it every day, but it's a good way to have a backup cooking system so that you can cook your food without the need for an electric igniter on a stove to run your oven. So I'll put these into the oven, and I will come back in about 20 minutes or so and check them. And as soon as they are done, I will go ahead and pull them out and I'll show them to you, get them out of the pans, show you how they came out, and taste one or two. One thing about the wood stove, you see me with this wood board on top. Underneath the wood board is my pot holders so that my wood board doesn't light on fire. I used to actually have a granite board, and that was an absolute wreck. Don't ever put a granite board on top of a wood stove because not only do they get hot, they crack. Bad news. So as soon as these muffins are done, I will get you the results, and that's about it. I'll see you in a bit.